You know what the worst part is? It's not the lying. It's not even the cheating. It's the sheer laziness of it all. Tuesday night. I'm at the kitchen table, surgical tools of a suburban handyman laid out in front of me. Needle, thread, some WD-40 for good luck. My wife's backpack sat on the table like a crime scene. She said the zipper was stuck. Could I fix it? Of course I could. She married the kind of man who learns how to fix things, not the kind who breaks them. I pulled the zipper apart, careful not to damage the fabric. I wasn't trying to win points, just doing what I always did. Handle the little things she stopped noticing. That's when I found the envelope. 2 movie tickets. Dated last week. Same time she was supposedly brushing up her English skills with Mrs. Garvey at the community center. I even remember asking her how the class went. She said, "We did a listening exercise. Something about ordering food in London." Right. I guess in her version of London, popcorn comes with betrayal and a side of guilt. Now, any man with an ounce of pride might have confronted her right there, slammed the tickets down like a royal flush and demanded answers. But I don't play emotional poker in public. I play chess. Quiet, deliberate, and always 3 moves ahead. So I printed out those tickets. Same layout, same fonts. The paper even smelled like office toner and foreshadowing. Then I took her favorite book, The Night Circus, the one she rereads every winter like it's some spiritual pilgrimage, and I slid the tickets in between pages 238 and 239. Her favorite chapter. Call it poetic. Call it petty. I call it patience. Now, this wasn't the first time something felt off. The late nights. The laughs she didn't share with me anymore. The weird urge she had to put on mascara before yoga. But a man in love likes to believe things still make sense. So I waited. I watched her pick up that book a few times that week. She held it like it was sacred, but never opened it. Not yet. Then, on a Thursday morning, she did. I was sipping my coffee. She was on the couch, legs curled under a blanket, flipping pages like nothing mattered. Until she stopped. Her hand froze mid-turn. The color in her face drained like someone had pulled the plug. She slipped the tickets out with the careful panic of a thief who realizes the cameras were on the whole time. I didn't say a word. She looked up. Our eyes met. "You," she started. I tilted my head. "Chapter 238, I said casually. "One of your favorites, right?" She didn't answer. Just sat there. Tickets trembling in her hand. Like maybe if she shook them hard enough, the truth would fall off the page. And just like that, the board was set. She didn't say a word. Just folded the tickets in half like that would somehow hide the timestamp, the row numbers, and the inconvenient truth. Then she said it. The line I'd waited for like an audience waits for the villain's monologue. "Why were you going through my bag?" I smiled into my coffee. That was her move? Offense as defense? A bold strategy for someone caught mid-lie. "Zipper was jammed," I replied. "Like I told you. Just trying to help." She squinted, her jaw working like she wanted to chew her words into something less incriminating. "You could have asked. Would you have said yes?" She didn't answer. Instead, she stood up, walked to the sink, and poured herself a glass of water she had no intention of drinking. Classic deflection. Hydration therapy for a burning conscience. That night, she didn't speak much. I didn't push. I didn't need to. I could already see the gears turning in her head, like a woman trying to rewrite her own search history in real life. She was nervous. She wasn't used to me being the quiet one. Which is funny, really, because for months she'd been dying for me to open up. You want irony? Here's irony. She used to beg me to talk about my feelings. Now I talk with my silence. And suddenly she's desperate to fill the void. 3 days later, she left her phone on the charger while she showered. It lit up on the counter, buzzing with a notification. "Leo, you free Friday? I miss your face. Black heart." Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the subtle brilliance of cheaters who think adding an emoji somehow makes betrayal feel more poetic. Leo. I knew that name. Leo ran that artsy cinema downtown, wore scarves indoors, and called every woman darling. He once told me I had sad eyes and accountant energy. I told him he had a face that looked like it lost a fight with a thrift store. So of course it was him. Of course that was the guy she chose. A man who used the word vibe unironically and probably wrote poetry about rain. And yet, she looked me in the eye that morning and asked if I wanted almond milk or oat milk in the groceries this week. As if the only lie between us was dairy-based. But I didn't crack, didn't flinch. I kissed her on the forehead and said, "Surprise me." Because I already had a plan. A slow, deliberate one. It started with a simple rule: act like everything's fine until it isn't. So I smiled, and she smiled back, and neither of us said what we were actually thinking. You ever watch someone lie so casually, you start admiring the form? That was her now. Rehearsed little chuckles, perfectly timed shoulder touches, answering questions I didn't ask. Her whole personality turned into one long distraction, and I let her perform. I started calling it the festival phase, all glitter and lights, fake smiles and empty noise. That Friday night, the same Friday she'd been texting Leo about, we had dinner at her friend Nicole's house. She insisted we go, said we could use the normalcy. Sure, because nothing screams normal like dining with people who don't know they're eating with a landmine. Nicole greeted us at the door with that upper-middle-class warmth. A wine glass in each hand, yoga mat still drying by the porch. "You two look great," she lied. "We made it to dessert before the performance cracked." Nicole asked, "So, how's the English class going, Mia?" Mia, my wife. The woman who'd apparently been conjugating verbs while buying popcorn with another man. "Oh," Mia said, flicking her hair like it was part of a script. "It's going well. We're covering idioms this week." "Ah," I said, swirling the wine in my glass. "Like sweeping things under the rug." She froze. Nicole laughed, not knowing I'd just served a verbal grenade with a Cabernet chaser. Mia smiled tightly. "Yeah, just like that." Later that night, she excused herself to the bathroom and stayed there long enough to scroll a whole chat history. I excused myself to Nicole's home office. Why? Because I knew Mia would take her purse with her, and I knew she always kept a paper planner. Said it helped her feel grounded. You know what else helps? Dates. Confirmed, inked in, undeniable dates. I flipped through the pages. Her handwriting was meticulous, heart-dotted I's and color-coded tabs. A lot of study nights, book club, Zumba. Zumba? Mia once tripped over a Roomba. And there it was, right next to the date on the movie tickets I'd found. ENG class. Don't forget to prep snacks. Prep snacks for conjugation. Must have been an intense lesson. I took a photo of the page and slipped everything back exactly how I found it. By the time we left, her hair was full of party confetti from a last-minute toast Nicole insisted on. She giggled in the car mirror, trying to pull bits out of her curls. "You've got something in your hair," I said, eyes still on the road. "What is it?" "Deception," I muttered. "What?" "Nothing." We got home. She went to bed. I stayed up, downloaded every text history from our cloud account. Some people get insomnia from stress. I get clarity. If silence is golden, then betrayal is platinum, because nothing glints in the dark like truth you never asked for. By 1:42 a.m., I had downloaded their entire message thread. iCloud, the shared family account, the thing she set up back when she still trusted me with passwords. Irony's got a real sense of humor. His name was saved as LJ Clapperboard, Leo Jackson, the theater boy with his indie playlists and used bookstore breath. As I scrolled through their thread, it read like a cheap romance novel trying too hard to be deep. "You bring calm into my chaos. You make me feel seen." Last night was electric, and my personal favorite. I can't wait until we don't have to hide anymore. Ah, yes. That classic moment when your side piece starts imagining himself in your husband's parking spot. They had shared Spotify links, too. Little songs she told me were just background music while she worked. Turns out, background music was the foreground of her emotional affair. Curious, I played a few tracks. Most of it was soft and breathy, the kind of music that gets played in films right before two people make questionable choices. There was a song called "Take Me When You Go." Fitting. Poetic, even. I made a playlist of their songs. Called it Research. Added a few of my own selections at the end, like Backstabber and Don't Speak. Petty? Maybe. Therapeutic? Absolutely. By 3 a.m., I had something else. A screenshot of one of Leo's messages. A photo of a necklace. One I'd seen on her dresser last week. Tag still attached. His caption read, "Glad you liked it, darling. You looked stunning when you unwrapped it." She told me she bought it on sale. Clearance rack. She said it like she was proud of the bargain. I even complimented her. "Looks expensive," I said. Her smile twitched. Now I know why. She wasn't lying. It was expensive, just not to her. The next morning, I poured her coffee the way she liked it. Splash of oat milk, hint of cinnamon, one ice cube to cool it just enough. The familiarity of it made her lean in for a kiss, which I gave her. Right on the cheek. She blinked. "You okay?" she asked. Didn't sleep well. She nodded, took the mug, and padded toward the couch. She had no idea I was unraveling the seams of our little tapestry thread by thread, smiling the whole time. I called in sick that day, not because I was unwell, but because war requires planning. I drove to Leo's theater. Not in disguise. Not with threats. I just watched. He came out around noon, carrying 2 smoothies. One for himself, one for a woman who was not my wife. Young. Pretty. Probably didn't know she was the B-side in his double feature. They walked together. Laughed. He kissed her cheek at the corner before she walked off. Interesting. So Leo wasn't just a homewrecker. He was a collector. Maybe my wife was the Tuesday special, sandwiched between weekend reruns. I tailed him for 20 minutes. He had no idea. Amateur. Back home, Mia was curled up on the couch with a blanket and a book. Not the night circus. She hadn't touched that since the ticket incident. Guilt has a shelf life. She looked up. Didn't go in today? Decided to work from home. She smiled like we were back in the honeymoon phase. Maybe later we can walk to that bakery you like. Sure, I said. Love the pastries. Hate the lies. She blinked. What? Nothing. That night, I made a move. I logged into her Spotify, connected it to the smart speakers in the living room, and hit play. Volume 75%. Not enough to shake the walls, but loud enough to get attention. Take Me When You Go. Leo's favorite. She looked up from her laptop, startled. Oh, weird. That just started playing on its own. I played dumb. Maybe the ghost of good taste. She stared at the speaker like it had betrayed her. I could see her mind spinning. She reached for her phone, swiped through something quickly, probably checking if her playlist had been breached. It had. By me. I waited until she was in the shower that night before I struck the next chord. Her phone was face down on the bed. I flipped it, opened the camera, and took a photo of myself. Just my face, deadpan, with her phone in the mirror's reflection. Then I sent it. To Leo. No caption. 5 minutes later, the screen lit up. LJ Clapperboard. What is this? Where's Mia? I put the phone back where I found it. Let her explain. At 10:23 p.m., she came out of the bathroom in her robe, toweling her hair. She froze when she saw me sitting on the bed, scrolling her phone. The room went quiet. I looked up. You and Leo have a cute playlist. She opened her mouth. I held up a finger. No. No speeches. No emotional TED talk about how it just happened or how I don't listen anymore. She took a slow step forward. How long have you known? Long enough to let you lie to me twice a day. Tears welled up, not grief. Guilt. Or maybe fear that the game was finally off script. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she said. I stood. You always say that. I didn't mean to. You didn't mean to forget how loyalty works. You didn't mean to take me for granted. You didn't mean to become a person I can't even respect anymore. She reached out. Please. I stepped back. No. No, please. You don't get that word anymore. She sat down on the edge of the bed, hands shaking. So what now? I smiled. Cold. Measured. And said, now we start the movie. And she didn't realize what that meant, not yet. She sat on the bed like a student waiting for detention to begin. I, on the other hand, felt strangely calm. Almost clinical. Like I was giving a TED talk on how to watch your marriage burn without breaking a sweat. So, she said, barely above a whisper, what do you mean? The movie starts. I reached into the drawer of my nightstand and pulled out a plain black envelope. No markings. Just the weight of consequences folded in paper. I tossed it on the bed beside her. She stared at it like it might explode. What is that? Open it, I said. She hesitated. Then, with shaking fingers, she slipped it open. Out slid a stack of high-gloss photos. Printed, dated, time-stamped. Leo. Her. Hugging outside the theater. Sitting across from each other at a restaurant she told me was girls' night. Him kissing her hand in the alley behind her yoga class. And then, the kicker, her wearing the necklace. The one he gave her. The one she lied about. The caption on the print said simply, gifted by Leo, worn to dinner with your husband. Her hand flew to her mouth. I didn't gloat. Didn't raise my voice. I just stood there, arms folded, letting the truth do the heavy lifting. I don't know what to say, she stammered. Good, I replied. Because this is the part where you watch. She blinked. Watch what? I walked over to the dresser, pulled open the top drawer, and took out my laptop. I opened a document titled MIA/Leo, the director's cut, and flipped the screen around to face her. It was a PowerPoint. Yes, a PowerPoint. Because if I'm going to be cheated on, I'm going to document it like a quarterly business review. Slide 1. A timeline of the affair. Slide 2. Her call logs and his. Slide 3. The GPS pings from her phone on nights she claimed to be at Nicole's. Slide 4. The Spotify playlist matched against message timestamps. Slide 5. A side-by-side breakdown of expenses, gas, coffee shop charges, hotel minibar items, all logged while I was out of town for work. She stared at it like someone watching a true crime doc about themselves. Horrified, glued to the screen, maybe even a little impressed. Honestly, I wouldn't blame her. "This is a lot," she whispered. "Yeah, I had time." She looked up, eyes rimmed with tears. "Are you going to leave me?" "Oh," I said with a smirk. "You think this ends with a suitcase and a sad Spotify breakup playlist?" "No, Mia. That'd be too clean. Too merciful." She shifted on the bed, suddenly wary. "Then what is this?" "It's Act 1. Over the next week, I went full Daniel Day-Lewis. Committed to the role of the loving husband. Breakfast in bed. Morning walks. Fresh flowers, just because. I knew she didn't buy it. Not entirely. But I played it so well she couldn't help but doubt herself. Maybe he forgives me. Maybe we'll rebuild. Maybe the nightmare is over." And that's what I wanted. Because while I played Romeo, I was building a stage behind the scenes. Here's what she didn't know. I'd already spoken to a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. A specialist in strategic divorce with a flair for theatrical settlements. I had changed the beneficiary on my life insurance. Not out of spite, but precision. I had created an anonymous account and scheduled a series of social media posts to go live in 48 hours. Screenshots, voicemails, photos, all curated tastefully, not trashy. The aesthetic? Elegant exposure. And lastly, oh yes, lastly, I had RSVP'd to a special event. Leo's upcoming birthday party. Mia didn't know I knew about it. Private venue. Close friends only. Supposedly, she was going to be out with her sister that night. Or so she would have told me. Instead, I was going. Alone. With an invitation I printed myself. Because Leo? Bless him. He used the same password for every online account. Passwords I now had thanks to a handy little browser autofill on Mia's tablet. The day of the party, I dressed sharp. Not flashy. Just enough to command attention. Navy blazer. Crisp shirt. Confidence buttoned all the way to the collar. I showed up fashionably late. The venue was dim, moody, full of Edison bulbs and people who smelled like clove cigarettes and unresolved ambition. Leo spotted me halfway through his second drink. His smile flickered. Hey, Logan, right?" "Correct," I said, grabbing a glass of whatever passed for whiskey and sipping calmly. "Nice spot. I see business is good." His jaw twitched. "I didn't expect to see you here." "That's the thing about expectations," I said. "They're a luxury for honest people." He opened his mouth, closed it, took a deep breath. "Look, man, I didn't mean for any of this to get messy." I leaned in just slightly. "Oh, Leo, this isn't messy. You'll know when it is." Then I raised my glass to him, tapped it against his, and walked away. Let the tension marinate. At 11:47 p.m., my scheduled posts went live. No words, just screenshots and images, evidence of the affair. No faces, no names, just enough for anyone in the know to know. The kind of stuff that burns quietly, but completely. I got a call from Mia at midnight. Didn't answer. Got a call from Leo 5 minutes later. Still didn't answer. The final slide in my presentation had said, "Reputation is like glass. Handle with care. Or don't. Just don't whine when you bleed." By 1 a.m., my phone had 38 notifications. Texts from mutual friends. Confused relatives. Even Nicole, asking if this was real or some kind of elaborate art project. I didn't reply. Because that night was mine. The credits were rolling. And for once, I wasn't the fool on stage. You ever watch someone try to put a house fire out with a teacup? That was Mia the morning after the posts went live. She burst through the front door like the victim in her own heist movie. Hair messy, jacket half on, phone still glowing in her hand. Her eyes scanned the living room like it might be full of ghosts. Or maybe she was just hoping I'd vanished with the rest of her dignity. I was in the kitchen, calm, toasting bread. "You posted those things online," she shouted, slamming her purse onto the table. I didn't even look up. "Good morning to you too." She stormed over. "You had no right." I finally turned to face her. "Actually, I had every right. I lived that betrayal. I just gave it subtitles for the audience. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She didn't have a rebuttal. What could she say? That I made her look bad? She did that all on her own. I just provided production value. You ruined my reputation, she hissed. No, I said, buttering my toast. You did. I just made sure the credits rolled before you could change the ending. She sank into a chair, breath heavy, eyes rimmed red. I've been getting calls all night. My boss saw it. My mom saw it. I spread jam slowly, like every motion was underlined with patience. Your mom called me too, actually. Left a voicemail. Said she always knew I was too good for you. Funny, right? She rubbed her temples. Logan, please. We need to talk. Oh, now we're talking? I laughed once. Dry? You had months to talk. Instead, you were out getting birthday gifts from a man who calls himself LJ like he's a jazz lounge. Leo doesn't deserve this either, she said. I gave her a long, slow stare. Mia, the man was trying to replace me while still rocking scarves in July. He deserves exactly this. She looked down at her hands. Quiet for a moment. Then she said it. So what now? You want a divorce? I set the toast down. Finally, we were at the fork in the road. No, I said. You want a divorce. You just never had the guts to say it. She looked up, confused. What? I leaned against the counter. You orchestrated the whole thing, Mia. Piece by piece. You stopped touching me, stopped confiding in me, started dressing up for yoga and laughing at your phone like it whispered poetry. You didn't just fall into an affair. You built a runway for it. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean to hurt you. That's the problem, I said. You didn't mean anything. You just did whatever felt good and hoped no one asked too many questions. She stood, shakily. So what's your plan then? You just going to punish me forever? I chuckled and pulled out a folder from under the fruit bowl. Thick, tabbed, organized. The kind of document that says, I never once stopped paying attention. Inside, I said, is a divorce settlement. Fair, legal, and already notarized. You'll get the condo downtown. Remember the one you said was too quiet last year? It's yours now. You'll keep your car. I'll keep the house. She blinked. You already had this drawn up? I smiled. 3 weeks ago. About the time I found the second pair of movie tickets. She opened the folder, scanning the pages. And if I don't sign this, then I send the rest of the receipts, I said. Not online, don't worry. Just directly to your boss. And to Leo's girlfriend. Didn't know about her, did you? Her face went pale. Yeah, I said. She's a sophomore at the college where he teaches part-time film theory. Sweet girl. Very polite when I messaged her. She sat down again, this time slower. You thought of everything. I nodded. That's what people do when they're being lied to. They start thinking real hard. She didn't cry. Not yet. But I could see it. The walls were closing in, and the exit sign had my name on it. After a long pause, she said, You know, I really did love you once. I looked at her for a moment, then said, Yeah, that's what makes it such a shame. That night, I slept like a baby. She didn't. I heard her crying down the hall. She probably thought I'd be moved. I wasn't. I wasn't mad anymore either. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't stay hot forever. Eventually it freezes, hardens, becomes strategy. 2 days later, she packed her things. She tried to hug me on the way out. I stepped back and said, You don't get to do that. She nodded, embarrassed, and left. Here's where it gets interesting. 2 weeks after the divorce papers were signed, I mailed her a package. No return address. Just a box. Inside, a movie ticket. One of the originals. The one she thought I lost. Tucked into a copy of The Night Circus. Same spot, chapter 238. And a note. Handwritten. Short. There's nothing more poetic than a woman losing herself in fiction. She never replied. Didn't have to. So now it's just me. The quiet house. The clean sheets. The playlist deleted. And let me tell you something strange. I'm not bitter. I'm not even sad. I'm free. Because when someone shows you what they are, believe them, but don't let them think you'll sit quietly in the audience while they burn the stage. Sometimes, you become the director. Sometimes, the ending is yours to write. You remember Leo, right? The scarf, the cinema, the secret texts. For a while, he thought this was his movie. That he was the misunderstood leading man in a bittersweet indie romance. Well, I gave him the ending he deserved. A week after Mia moved out, I walked into his theater, calm, polite, 2 tickets in hand. Hey there, I said to the guy at the front. I've got a reservation under Logan. Should be for the private screening room. He scanned the list and nodded. Yup, all set. Head upstairs, second door on the left. Perfect. Leo had hosted monthly indie film nights for close friends. Mia always said it was networking. I knew it was a lot of things. Networking wasn't one of them. When I stepped in, the lights were low, the screen was paused on a frame from Casablanca, because of course it was. And there he was, Leo, holding court with a half-circle of wannabe filmmakers and women who thought his vinyl collection made him deep. He saw me and blinked, visibly thrown off. Logan, what are you doing here? I brought a short film, I said with a smile, handing him a flash drive. Thought I'd get your notes. He hesitated. Now's not really. I cut him off. Oh, it's short. Just 3 minutes. Silent, mostly. Just some shots of two people lying to everyone around them. His face stiffened. But peer pressure's a beautiful thing, and his audience was already interested. He loaded the drive. Pressed play. The room went still. First frame, a screenshot of Leo's text to Mia. Her replies. Dozens of them. Carefully blurred names, but not so blurred that the people in the room couldn't guess. Then, a video of him and Mia walking into the alley behind the yoga studio, kissing. Then, a photo of Leo's actual girlfriend, Claire, on campus, followed by one of Leo and another woman in the same alley 2 weeks earlier. Final frame, a title card. Directed by Consequences. Produced by Ego. Inspired by true events. Silence. Then the lights came up, and I stood. Thanks for watching, I said, turning toward the exit. Leo, maybe stick to foreign films. Real life's not your genre. She didn't take it well. Mia, I mean. After Leo's crash and burn, she tried to reach out. Multiple calls. Long, breathy voicemails. The kind where someone sounds like they're crying in front of a mirror just to see what it looks like. I made a mistake, she said in one. I think about you all the time, in another. I'm lost. I didn't respond. So she showed up. 3 weeks after everything unraveled, I came home from a morning run and found her sitting on the porch. In a sundress. No makeup. Hair pulled back like she thought nostalgia could rewind reality. Logan, she said. Please. I didn't say a word. I'm not asking for everything back. I miss who we were. I miss how you loved me. I looked at her and said calmly, you miss how I trusted you. That's not love. That's leverage. And you used it up. Tears welled up in her eyes. You don't forgive? I forgive, I said. But forgiveness isn't a revolving door. You used your exit. She stood up, swallowed hard. You know, I thought you were boring. But you're not. You're terrifying. I smiled. No, Mia. I'm just done being the quiet one. She left. For good, this time. I sent her one last thing. A card. Blank on the outside. Inside, a single sentence. Losing me wasn't the punishment. Living with what you did is. No signature. No threats. Just truth, polished and mailed first class. By then, she had moved out of state. Heard through the grapevine she was working some temp job, trying to figure things out. Leo was persona non grata in their old circle, his screenings suddenly a lot emptier. Me? I was thriving. Not in the post-divorce Instagram way, but real thriving. Quiet mornings. Peace. A dog. A clean slate. I started writing. Just stories. Nothing dramatic. Just little pieces of fiction that felt honest. People read them. They liked them. One of them asked if it was based on real life. I just smiled. A year later, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. It was from Mia. It wasn't an apology. Not really. More like a confession. She said she'd kept reading The Night Circus. Said she flipped to chapter 238 often, hoping the ticket I left there would mean less over time. It didn't. She wrote, sometimes I dream you walk in and ask me to explain. And in the dream, I tell you everything. I tell you why I broke what we had, why I needed more. And you just smile and say, that's the worst part. You think I care anymore. I didn't write back. Not because I was angry, because she finally understood. The twist wasn't that I got revenge. The twist was that I walked away whole. No scars. No second chances. No looking back. And in the end, that was the most unexpected ending of all.